Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are completely cutting through the noise. We're going to look at the hard, undeniable data behind Florida's absolute boom in both economics and real estate. Let's just dive right in.
Okay, so we all know the old cliche, right? The assumption that people only move down to Florida to, meet Mickey Mouse, catch a sunburn, and retire on the beach. But it's actually time we challenge that. The real reason millions are flocking to the Sunshine State right now, it's actually rooted deeply in its economic architecture. Take a look at this. According to the brand new Rich States, Poor States report, Florida currently ranks #1 in the entire nation for economic performance. Literally, #1. And look, this isn't just a slight edge over the competition, it's a massive, comprehensive outperformance of the other 49 states when it comes to current economic vitality. It basically means the state's economic engine is running at absolute peak efficiency right now. Now, a current #1 ranking is obviously fantastic, but what about tomorrow? Well, building on that immediate powerhouse status, the state also secured a really coveted spot in the top 10 for its future economic outlook. And you guys, this is an absolutely crucial metric because it signals long-term market stability to both businesses and everyday folks. It proves this boom, it's not just some temporary post-pandemic spike, it's a highly sustainable trajectory. So, how exactly did they pull off these top-tier rankings? Well, it's kind of like a giant flywheel effect. Massive domestic migration fuels incredible population growth, which then directly supplies the labor for rapid job growth. Then you add in a highly competitive tax and regulatory environment, and boom, you get a completely frictionless business climate. All of this drives really high economic output. These elements, they don't exist in a vacuum. They feed off each other, creating this powerful, self-sustaining cycle of growth. To put that population growth into perspective for a second, over the past decade, domestic migration alone, meaning folks packing up and moving from other U.S. states, has brought over 2.2 million new residents into Florida. Think about that. That is the equivalent of picking up the entire population of Houston, Texas, and just dropping it right into Florida. It's a staggering relocation of human capital, and it absolutely sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth does an economy support 2.2 million brand new people? Well, compounding this massive influx, the state has simultaneously experienced nearly 25% job growth. The crucial takeaway here is that people aren't just arriving and sitting around on the beach, they're stepping directly into a rapidly expanding workforce. And this is all happening right alongside robust business expansion and continued aggressive economic development across a ton of different sectors. So what's the major catalyst? What's actually drawing in all this human capital and economic development? Well, it's a very specific policy choice. Florida has the unique advantage of remaining one of the few states with absolutely zero personal state income tax. Zero. Getting to keep more of your own hard-earned money is an incredibly powerful incentive. It completely alters the math for anyone considering a move, and it fundamentally acts as a giant magnet for both talent and capital. And because of this, the demographic profile of the new Florida resident has completely transformed. Yes, retirees are definitely still coming, but now they're joined by families looking for a better cost of living, young entrepreneurs launching startups, and remote workers taking full advantage of geographical flexibility. We are literally seeing entire corporate headquarters and massive investment firms packing up and fleeing higher tax states. It's an entire cross-section of the American economy driving this new wave. Okay, so now that we understand the big picture, macro-level economic drivers at play, the jobs, the migration, the zero income tax, we really need to pivot to see how this translates directly to the everyday realities of the local housing market. I mean, you simply cannot drop 2.2 million people into a single state without sending a massive shockwave through its real estate landscape. The immediate result? Well, it's exactly what you'd expect. With millions pouring into the state, seeking out better opportunities and a better lifestyle, the demand for housing is absolutely white-hot across the board. And listen, this isn't just some temporary, weird seller's market anomaly. It is a fundamental structural reality driven by sheer population volume. Both buyers and sellers are trying to navigate a landscape where everyone is fiercely competing just to get a front door. And while this surge is definitely happening statewide, the report specifically highlights that this intense real estate demand is especially pronounced right in Central Florida. Geographically speaking, Central Florida acts kind of like a massive sponge for this new growth. This is thanks to its vast land availability and expanding infrastructure that connects both coasts.
The housing market down there just continues to rapidly evolve with totally new developments and shifting neighborhood dynamics, all just trying to accommodate the massive influx of new residents flooding into the center of the state.
Ultimately, look, any housing market's going to have its short-term fluctuations, right? Interest rates go up and down, inventory dips and rises, but while individual real estate markets are always going to shift around, Florida's fundamental, long-term economic growth is the ultimate anchor keeping buyer demand so incredibly robust over time. As long as that economic engine, the one that earned them that top 10 future outlook, keeps running, the baseline demand for real estate is going to remain highly elevated.
The bottom line of the report captures this whole paradigm shift perfectly. As they put it, people aren't just moving to Florida for the weather anymore. They're moving for opportunity, growth, and financial advantages. That is the new reality. The state's true appeal is rooted so deeply in its wallet-friendly policies, and real estate is basically the foundational baseline of that entire unfolding story. So, looking at these totally undeniable numbers and the sheer scale of the migration happening right now, it kind of leaves us wondering about the places we live in today. How do these specific economic, regulatory, and tax policies in your own state compare when it comes to actually fueling real estate demand in your own backyard? Are the policies around you acting as a magnet, or are they pushing growth away? It is absolutely a crucial question to ask ourselves as we watch these massive macro trends completely reshape the map. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.